China has done something the world has never seen before. In 2025, China's trade surplus crossed $1 trillion. And that's not a headline, that's a warning sign. This isn't a normal economic cycle. This is a structural shift in global power. Despite years of tariffs, restrictions, and political pressure, one country still controls the world's manufacturing engine. And that country is China. Let's break down what just happened. China's trade surplus for the first 11 months of 2025 was at about $1 trillion. November alone was $111 billion, and exports grew by 5.9% year-on-year. Imports grew just 1.9%. That gap of strong exports and weak imports is the engine of this surge. So, how did China pull this off? First, the great pivot. Exports to the United States collapsed nearly 29% in November this year. Tariffs did bite, but China didn't retreat. It rerouted. Chinese exports were redirected to Europe, Southeast Asia, Australia, and emerging markets. This wasn't improvisation, this was strategy. China avoided the wall and simply went around it. Second, industrial firepower. China doesn't just make cheap products anymore, it dominates electronics, semiconductors, electric vehicles, solar technology, heavy machinery, shipbuilding. This is scale at industrial warfare level, vertical integration, cheaper inputs, and faster execution. No competitor matches that ecosystem. Third, weak domestic demand by design. Chinese consumers aren't driving this boom. Imports grew at just 1.9%. Households are cautious and businesses are restrained. China isn't consuming but exporting. That imbalance is not an accident. It is the model. Now, why does this matter to the rest of the world? Because this changes everything. China is no longer just the factory of the world. It is becoming the price setter of the world. It can flood global markets with cheaper goods. It can undercut local industries. It can dictate supply chains. For Europe, this is triggering fear. For emerging markets, this is dependence. And for the US, this is a failed containment strategy. Call for new tariffs are already growing. Talk of industrial protectionism is back. The fight is now shifting from trade wars to industrial survival. There's another warning buried in this. As long as exports keep booming, Beijing has no incentive to fix its internal economy. No pressure to boost wages, no urgency to drive domestic consumption. Export dominance becomes the safety valve, and the world absorbs the consequences. So, where does this leave us? This is not a blip or a rebound. This is a new trade order. Tariffs failed to stop the surge. Trade routes have realigned globally. Supply chains are becoming more China-centric. For 2026 and beyond, the real questions are brutal. Can countries protect their industries? Can they afford to decouple? Can they compete with China's scale? Because if one country controls the flow of manufactured goods, it doesn't just shape markets, it shapes power. And right now, China is winning.